Skaven can potentially have a tough time against the Ogres for a number of different reasons. The Ogres are relatively quick. They can somewhat match you on chaff. They've got pretty decent, large, fast attack units that are kind of lower model count, right? Stonehorns in general are just great in a lot of matchups for a number of reasons, but also missile resistance and just being a big, heavy, stompy monster. Yeah, the Ogres can definitely do some things that can challenge the Skaven. Skaven are a very good faction, though, and certainly have some versatility. This one here is from Contrarian Codex from XMT, and we've got double Brood Horror Hero. Yep, that's right. We've got the legendary Throt the Unclean and a Packmaster I recently talked about. It was probably a couple weeks ago now. I talked about Throt in a video, and he got some buffs. He's not bad. I generally like the Packmaster better, but definitely taking both of them together can be quite solid. The rest of the build here, we've got a bunch of Rat Ogres. It gets Zap here, the Regiment of Renown. Warp Lightning Cannons got better fire rate and accuracy, and also has this contact effect which increases cooldowns, which could potentially be situationally pretty useful, but just overall, even having the extra accuracy and fire rate on a Warp Lightning Cannon is quite nice. Warp Lightning Cannons probably underrated, honestly, as far as artillery goes. They are quite good anti-large artillery with a 70 bonus versus large and a nice kind of piercing explosive missile attack. He's also got a bunch of Eshin Triads here. Makes a lot of sense in this matchup. Skaven Slaves as well, and yeah, let's get things rolling. Packmaster and Throt gonna come out and start to chew on some of these trappers. There was a big vanguard of trappers here. We've got some Mournfangs following them up with some Saber Tusks here. On the opposite side, you have the Regiment of Renown Stonehorn and some more Saber Tusks. Sky Striders Crushers. Yeah, not Skull Crushers. Skull Crushers are actually terrible in their proportion. More Mournfangs and some more Saber Tusks. The Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw looking to heal, and it's gonna have to pre-heal probably a little bit. You do see that glacial defense being popped here. It is going to slow down the speed, which means the Snowhorn might take a couple of attacks in the meantime, but greatly increases the armor, gives some extra missile resistance. Meanwhile, here, the backline Vanguard is starting to connect a little bit. We're seeing the Rat Ogres be used as blocking detachments, as the Giselles. Now to move those Sharpshooters, turn and fire. A couple of long-range options for the Skaven here, but you see the speed of the Ogres as... yeah, these Saber Tusks are able to get in combat here. We see all the smoke bombs, concealment bombs even get popped for the Triads. They can eventually try and reposition and not get seen here. They definitely are less risky in many ways than Storm Vermin here. They're not as susceptible to getting counter blasted by like Iron Blasters or something, or what is it, Lead Belchers. It's the more common pick, definitely, but yeah, the Rat Ogres right now cleaning up this backline flanking force relatively well. And the lack of chaff on this build for the Ogres does mean that their large units are going to come in, they're going to penetrate these lines, do a bunch of damage, but they will have a hard time sustaining because they don't really have a lot of supporting units to work off of. But you can see out on the flanks here, Sky Striders, Saber Tusks able to absolutely clear through some Rat Ogres. We've also got Mournfang great weapons here, get a nice rear charge. Oof, just absolutely brutal here, taking down those Rat Ogres. And yeah, Trappers also get some nice volleys of their daggers in there. So the Ogre's kind of cleaning up the flanks, winging the formation here, attacking units on the sides that appear isolated and whatnot. But yeah, the Sky Striders here are going to get sort of caught up on the Packmaster. This is a pretty ideal situation. Triads will be a great sort of support, getting in rear charge here. Nice armor-piercing anti-large. Not only that, but also 50% armor debuff from Weeping Blade. And even though a lot of these units do have armor-piercing damage, I mean, like 138 of the Packmaster's damage is non-AP, right? So if you can remove the armor as much as possible, especially from something that has as much as Crushers do, definitely can be quite useful. But one Saber Tusk finally trying to land on the Zap, but Codex done a good job of protecting so far. Another few volleys from the Zap here, potentially resetting some cooldowns, preventing the Slaughtermaster from healing quite as much in an ideal world. The Snowhorn still has basically almost hit its healing cap, so it's been able to receive quite a bit. But as far as the rest of this army goes, the Ogre's having a hard time connecting here. And yeah, I mean, Skaven, it's kind of funny, like thinking in the past, you know, definitely I remember some discussions with various players over the years about how, like, taking infantry against Skaven is just not that great of an idea, especially elite infantry. One reason I think, obviously, why the Ogres can potentially cause Skaven some problems is because they are very much, like, not at all infantry focused. I mean, we'll see. I might get some more units in the new DLC, but generally they're all focused around monstrous infantry, and, you know, monstrous cavalry and all that. So, potentially gives them an advantage here, just from a kind of meta sense, but right now, Contrarian's managed to kind of reform his lines here, hold back these trappers, and, you know, Sky Striders and these other Mournfang cavalries haven't really been able to land here. In fact, he's been able to keep Ikit Zapsap online the whole time and shooting at high-value targets. It's almost 1,000 damage value already, and we'll continue to apply pressure. You can kind of just sit back and defend, and try and profit that way. This Lore of Stealth caster here, Eshin Sorcerer, I haven't really highlighted him too much, but he's been using that Brittle Bone to really nice effect to help, again, assist those melee engagements anytime the Sky Striders run in, especially debuffing their speed. Because Skaven infantry are already pretty fast, they can definitely keep up. Yeah, this is just a decoy, but still, you can see there the speed value as they kind of pursue there. So yeah, using that Brittle Bone to potentially speed debuff, even debuffing the Vigor as well, right? So that will, again, have a sort of cumulative speed effect as the battle wears on. And then, of course, minus 40 melee defense is absolutely huge. So nice to see spell that you don't see, you know, very commonly used with Skaven, but definitely has been very effective here so far. We'll kind of watch for that being cast. Nothing right now, but definitely Sky Striders are an ideal target, or these Mournfang cavalries. But, yeah, down to 45 or 60 with that Weeping Blade. Just such a powerful armor debuff. Synergizes so well with so many Skaven's units. But Ogres might have a chance here. I mean, this is kind of it. They're getting a nice all-in charge. Sky Striders finally land on the central blob. But you can see, while the health bar was up, how quickly it's getting taken down. And, I mean, you can even see just visually, if we zoom in close, how quickly these Sky Strider models are getting dragged down. I mean, you've got the Triad damage is very considerable. You know, both the Brood Horrors, right, are going to be doing a pretty good amount of damage as well, between Throt and the Packmaster. And the thing is, they're, like, kind of similarly sized to the Crushers as well, so they won't get surrounded as easily. And especially with this excellent infantry support, there's just no way the Sky Striders to land any hits on them, really. They're going to continue taking hits from them the whole time they're trying to, like, disengage and re-engage. Brittle Bone also synergizes again with the poison, doubling up on those speed debuffs if they can get right targets that Throt or the Packmaster are fighting. So yeah, they're going to see that, I think, being cast here. Is that big AoE Brittle Bone? Yeah, nice. Down to 0 melee defense on those Mournfang Cav. And yeah, although the Eshin Triads got pretty badly beat up there, at least the RORs, just in general, the Eshin Triads have been taking some losses. I mean, to be fair, they're fighting Crushers, but definitely taking some hits in the process, but now getting back into combat. One little Goal Gorger there. Try and give them some extra damage output as they charge in. One final time. The Packmaster even kind of chasing some Routing Crushers here, felling a few more models. And the Ixchis Triads do come back, at least for the final engagement, able to sunder the armor. And again, it's even like the Skaven Slave Spears, right? With that Weeping Blade active, any hits they get is just insanely valuable, right? Considering how cheap they are. And that Weeping Blade just adds that much more value on top. Just beautiful synergy, really fun build, and it ended up working out quite well for Contrarian there. So nice to see both Packmaster and Throt were able to get decent value. Nothing too crazy. The Triads definitely feasted pretty hard, and the Ixchis Triads, by far, the Brittle Bone definitely helping them to absolutely slap some value down. Technically, Ikit Zapsap doesn't quite fully pay for itself because of the ROR value, but basically does, and tactically, again, able to shut down certain like abilities at certain key times, and just to, in general, apply pressure to your enemy to try and draw them to you, dictate kind of the pace of the engagement, the locations, right? Seize the initiative, if you will, Artillery often allows you to do so. But yeah, overall, very fun game. Very, very fun game. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.